what comes in your mind on the phrase financial freedom or financial independence? I believe that is a status that one acquires after a long journey, a long winding process of accumulation of assets that generate enough or cash flows that are more than what that person needs and in multiples, such that at such a point of financial independence, which I look at it as a point of financial abundance, is a status where one does no longer require to do work for money, or a level at which one never worries about money. He has so much cash flows from assets such that he can take care of any eventuality, any bills that come his way. What do you think of financial freedom? I have packaged 7 status levels throughout the journey of accumulation towards financial abundance, which I don't regard as a destination. It's a status, but many of us think of a destination, a position, or a point that you attain at which you have no worry about money, which I believe, oh yes, but it's a question of what you will have done or along the way to attain such a status. My name is O'Brien Daku, and I love when they call me Dakule1. Welcome to my channel. A point of financial stability can be characterized by 2 features. Number 1 is a status of solvency, where you are generating cash flows, whether actively or passively, but mainly actively, out of your day-to-day activities. You are generating enough cash flows that are giving you 2 things. You are solvent enough that all your bills are sorted. And number 2, you are able and consistently putting in or funding your savings. And that means we would have what we characteristically call an emergency fund. At that point, we would say you are financially stable. And by the amount of the emergency fund, you will have accumulated. And it is important we look at that word accumulation. You have accumulated up to, or at least 3 months to 6 months of your monthly income. Not just your monthly expenses, an amount that covers your 6 months of worth of your living expenses. No, 6 months worth of your monthly income. If you are a person in business or mtu wa miradi that you are generating irregular incomes, we'll be looking at an average. What is your average monthly income? If you have accumulated up to about 6 months worth of your monthly average income, at that point, that size of an emergency fund, and that you are able to cover all your expenses and consistently fund your emergency fund or savings, even if you have a debt here and there, we will characterize you as a financially stable individual. We are expounding on the levels that we will have to undergo through in terms of accumulation towards our financial independence. Accumulation is very important, and this borrows from the mindset. You must have a fixation of your mind in terms of thoughts. What you think about money in terms of your earnings and your saving in order to build a culture. And this one is fueled by what you consume in terms of what you're seeing, what you're listening to. And for instance, what comes in your conscience when you hear phrases like kama pesa uko nayo iwezi tosha mahitaji yako, kula hiyo pesa. If the money that you have cannot solve the problems that you have, eat that money. Such statements and how your conscience speaks to you can tell you about your mindset. Does your conscience get justified for your financial mismanagement, your recklessness in handling money? That would point towards a negative mindset. But if your conscience gets some sort of rebuke, you are on the right way. It doesn't begin by putting huge amounts. It begins from the mind. Have you accepted, have you fixed your mind to the importance of savings as opposed to what you are earning? Because that is the key towards your independence. Building a culture of keeping what you are earning. And the amount, the percentage that you are able to keep is what builds your independence, not necessarily the compounding. So with mindset, you have to have the right mindset. And the most important thing in this journey is keeping what you are earning. But remember, we need to sort our bills. So at a point of stability, that is the middle. At the point where you are stable, you are able to save, your bills are sorted, even if you have a loan, a debt here and there, you're financially stable. You are at the middle of your journey. And what you do at this point determines either your progression towards independence or you are tipping back to a point of dependence. And that's why you have heard some fellas tell others, tutakuona. You have also heard statements like, salimianga watu wa makaa gasi ukwisha. If I have an emergency fund, meaning that I have some savings that can take care of my bills or can take care of eventualities that are unanticipated or untimely. You are in the middle of cooking and that gas pop gets finished. If you are not able to refill that gas, then you have a problem with your emergency funding, because you must be able to keep money aside to take care of small happenings. Mtoto amekimbia around hapo, ameanguka amejikwa kidole. A thing that may not necessarily have to take you to a general hospital. You can walk into a nearby clinic, get that wound dressed, and you're good to go. But you are unable to sort about 2,000, 3,000, 1,000, 2,000. That speaks towards an emergency fund. Then an emergency fund is not a huge disaster fund. It's just an amount set aside regularly that cushions you against small happenings. But the size of it, the size of what you keep aside, is what cushions you against major happenings. We had the floods the other day. People who had set aside some substantial savings that can sort such emergencies, because a flooded house, a swept away house might require some substantial amount. So it depends on the size of your emergency fund, because the catastrophe that will strike, your ability to handle it determines the amount or the leveling of the ground. So now we have some other stages, 3 stages before stability, and they are very important. And one, immediately before stability, you are at a point of solvency, which is a point of self-sufficiency, where you are generating enough cash, either through business or through employment. Your 9 to 5 activities are giving you just enough money to take care of your bills, such that any amount that you play around with it, you tip back to a pit of insufficiency, and there is a bill that will not be solved. That is a point of self-sufficiency, and it's a very dangerous point, because any small thing happening, it throws you off balance. And that is a point where you are able to sort out your bills, but you have nothing left for an emergency fund. You are not able to keep aside any amount, but you can take care of your bills. It's still a point of some sort of dependency, and this is a risky point. You have your friends, people that mnaweza piga sherehe kiasi kiasi, but because experience is the best teacher, and you don't have to learn with your own experience anyway. You have seen guys, maybe you have experienced it. If you have that point, you must have experienced it. You had friends. You can do kidogo sherehe here and there, knowing that I will fix this one, because at that point, that is where you face the curse of money. And the curse of money is based on expectation, where you anticipate a refill of your money. You are spending your money knowing that another salary is coming in. So you keep on emptying your checking account, because you are sure another salary is coming in. You can even walk around and borrow. You are taking things from the duka. You have another point for those who are drinking. You have a club. Umedaiwa kakitu. Those bills, and these people are lending you on account of they know your salary is coming in, and the worst is that they can even tell when you are paid. That also applies to relatives. When they know that so and so, his money comes in, around is a teacher, so by 6th, the salary has already been credited in the account. That level of expectation works to us as a curse when it comes to money, because people also plan your money. So that speaks to gaining control of our finances. I'm just avoiding to use the word budget and budgeting, because once those words are used, I know they don't click well to many people. But we have come to a point of control whereby we have known our expenditure patterns, and we are able to enlist them against our money sources. And that gives us control of tracking the money, and also directing it. Because being able to direct our money gives us control against these cars, other people planning for money. Because for sure, if you don't plan your money, the money will plan for itself. The money will plan for itself. And that is a point of solvency. And the greatest risk at that point is any small thing that happens throws you off or tips you back to a pit of dependency. And that is the second from stability. Before you attain your level or status of self-sufficiency, you are at a point of dependency. And this point of dependency is a point whereby you are generating cash. You have a salary, and you have whatever hustles that you're doing. But all the average income that you're getting in a monthly basis or periodically is not enough to cover all your bills. Forget about saving. It's not enough to cover all your bills, such that in your planning, there are gaps. Wewe budget yako inakaa ya serikali, lazima ikuwe na some gap ya borrowing. You are borrowing from friends, you are borrowing from aduka, wale wakamfinya ushaenda klabu. You have gaps in your financing, in your budget, that automatically require you depend on other people for survival. Uko na tule to loan that are cycles. You are in a debt cycle. Every other month there are some bills that are left out. You have a kitabu kwa duka mahali inaandikwa, because once salary comes you have to sort the previous month bill so that you continue, and you get into such a debt cycle. That is a point of dependency, and at that level we cannot talk about saving. Then there is the point, the first point, and there's another point level of dependency which I'll categorize as a crisis point, where you have no income. You have no income at all. This is a young person. You have come of age, but you are out of your family space. You're supposed to take care of yourself, but you don't have an income. That is another level, a severe level of dependency, where 100% you're depending on people. And most likely these people know that you don't generate any income. So those two combines, because whether you are not generating any income or another person is generating an insufficient income, those are two levels. It's a wide scope of dependency. And that's why we are talking about journey, because we can never be at the same level. It's, you are moving. And the danger, the reason why I've picked the level of stability and look at it backwards, because at that point, because we are talking at a point where we do not operate an emergency fund. Not because we don't want, but we are unable because of the finances that we have. Or we are able to keep small amounts. It will take us a long time to build this fund that can cover our monthly incomes, accumulate for 3 months. Because we will not dump our money into a savings account somewhere on the pretext of building that fund. It should be a percentage or what we squeeze from our incomes to set aside. And that's why I've said I'm talking about the mindset. We must have a mindset that prioritizes the importance of keeping our earnings as opposed to spending. And because we must spend on our living expenses, in that mindset is the one that pushes us towards taking control of our money and making decisions. And decision that places us to live within what we are earning. Within meaning that we are living an amount unspent, and that is what we are deliberately setting aside or keeping aside as a saving. And that is the one that accumulates slowly to a point now we can say we have 1 month worth of accumulation, we have 2 months worth of accumulation. And during the period of accumulation, anything can happen. So whatever happens pushes us down and we continue the accumulation. So congratulations to those who are doing in their smallest way possible the accumulations. And because wealth and riches are not grown overnight, it takes time to build wealth. And the speed with which you are going to attain your goal or the set amount that you're supposed to accumulate is dependent on the opportunities that are available and you are able to pursue. If you talk about this world-known gentleman, a billionaire today, Warren Buffett was not born a billionaire. And in fact, this gentleman became a billionaire or acquired the billionaire status after his 50th birthday. By the time Bill Gates was 21 years, he had accumulated a wealth amounting to $2,000 by 21 years because he started his saving when he was 16 years. So do not feel you are not doing enough. The little that you are able to keep, that is your match. And that is what will give you that freedom in the long run. Martin Luther King once said, if you're not able to run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Because in this journey of financial freedom, you must be doing something. And because you have a right mindset, do the least that you can. And with the time, you are going to find yourself there. Back to Warren Buffett. In appreciation of the power of compounding, Warren Buffett refers his enterprise, the Hampshire, as a compounding machine. And that appreciates that entrepreneurship can build our wealth and riches quicker because of this ability to compound. But that does not negate whatever we are doing 9 to 5 as a saving, so long as we have the right mindset of keeping or saving. The choice where you keep your money is dependent on the available opportunities. Because every opportunity has a cost. We call opportunity cost. And that gives you a choice. So whether the money you are keeping in a bank, whether you are keeping it in a high yielding saving account, whether you are keeping it in a fund account, whether you are investing it in stocks, regardless of where the money is, that is a choice that you've made, and it has a cost. But the most important thing in this journey is appreciating and acquiring the mindset that prioritizes keeping and maximizing the saving. And well that done, we are already exiting the journey to financial freedom. The next 4 are stages or statuses that appreciate or come after the point of stability, security, flexibility, independence, and freedom. And all those stages can be characterized by the amount, the number of years that the fund or the investment that you have built can cover your living expenses. So let's appreciating the importance of the point, the status of stability, a point where you have attained control, your financial control, you have the right mindset, you are funding your emergency fund or other saving, and your bills are sorted. Because security will look at consistently increasing your emergency fund. And number 2, repaying your high risk debts. That is what will give us the security. Then we will have flexibility, independence, and financial freedom.